it's your man, Kill. You are tuned in to Rap Sessions here at Horton's Kids in our media lab, brought to us by In a Perfect World. Now, my guest today is one of the illest. They say Biggie Smalls is the illest. Nah. You're the illest. Introduce yourself.
Hi, y'all. I'm E'NyJaih, also known as EJ to the Horton's Kids. I'm a senior at Vassar College, pursuing my history degree, and I'm an alumni of Horton's Kids.
All right, no doubt. Before we dive into everything with you, because I keep telling you, words can't express how proud I am of you. We're going to talk a little bit about Rap Sessions. This started before you even came to Horton's Kids. We're going to get into all of that. But when I first started here 11 years ago, and they were like, Kill, you need to run the older youth program. The thing that I realized is that you teenagers have people, well, you're not a teenager anymore.
Yeah, not no more.
Right. But when you were, adults are always talking to y'all all day. And it was like, I don't want to just be another adult talking to you. So what I did was I called them rap sessions. And it was, I would ask them a question.
Right.
Like, yo, why are y'all committing suicide? Or why are y'all killing each other? I would ask them a question so that they could enlighten me. Because to be honest with you, all day adults are trying to teach teenagers something.
Right.
And I'm like, nah, let's make this time an opportunity for you all to get a voice. Right. And for you all to be able to teach us old heads something. Right. To have a conversation. So what we're doing now with our media lab is just bringing that to the masses, so allowing them to kind of peep in. So that's where Rap Sessions comes from. You are the debut guest. You're the first. So let's chop it up. Yo, where are you from? Talk a little bit about yourself, your moms, your family, everything.
Okay. I'm from Southeast DC, born and raised my whole life, all over Southeast basically. But yeah, Southeast baby. Mom, dad, brother and sister. I'm the oldest. First gen college student. And what else? What else could I say? I don't want to give it all away.
I mean, just whatever you feel comfortable with. You know what I mean? So
yeah, first gen college student pursuing a career in law. So
all right.
Yeah, a future in law, if you would.
All right, now tell me this, because you weren't like an original Horton's Kids. Yeah. Like you came into the program your junior year in high school or sophomore?
Junior, sophomore year, yeah.
So how did your family even find out about Horton's Kids?
Okay, so my family always knew about Horton's Kids, like when Michelle Obama came and they redid the whole area. That's when I kind of like found out more about it. But I didn't get involved in Horton's Kids until I was in high school. And like my close friends in high school were Horton's Kids. And so after school, I would go straight home after like my after school activities. But they would go to Horton's Kids and do like homework help, tutoring or whatever. And so I was like, well, let me just join because why not?
Right.
Why not?
All right. Talk a little bit about what we did at Horton's Kids. Did you like it?
I liked Horton's Kids. When I was a Horton's Kid, we did a lot. We did tutoring, homework help, ACT prep, and that was just like academics wise. We took a lot of field trips, college and career prep, like a bunch of like real world, real life, things that we need. But along with that, like I feel like we did like a lot of mental health and physical health things that I still use today. It was just like a community space, if that makes sense. Like you can go into Horton's Kids for a lot of different things. It wasn't just like one set, thing that they were doing.
All right, now tell me this. You said college and career readiness. How do you feel like that helped you? Did it help you? I mean, and keep it a buck. If it didn't help you, because we're always trying to get better. So did it help when it came time to like look for college? Because you're coming to us in the latter years of looking and trying to decide getting into colleges. Did that help you?
I feel like yes. Horton's Kids college and career readiness did help a lot. Simply because like my high school class was a bit on the larger side for DC.
What high school did you go to?
I went to KIPP.
Okay.
So we had college counselors, but I didn't feel like it was like as one-on-one as it is with Horton's Kids. And so a lot of like the things that you all taught me, even though when I was younger, I probably brushed it off, it came back to me in college. So like advocacy and like how to draft emails and like how to like present yourselves in certain situations and advocate for yourself. Like all of those things were like really important. And I didn't really look at them as important when I was in HK. Like when I was actually a participant, I was learning it and I was like, I'm never going to use this. Like, I don't care. But I did end up using a lot of the skills you guys taught me. So,
all right, now let's talk a little bit about this. Southeast DC.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, some of the youth in Southeast DC aren't thinking about college.
Right.
You know, for a lot of youth, for a lot of parents, I've heard parents say, "Hey, once you graduate high school, I'm done. Like my job is done." So for some of the people who we serve and we work with, and just throughout DC, and not just DC, but the world in general, you know what I mean? A lot of kids aren't thinking about college.
Right.
You know, for so many people, it's just like, yo, I just want to get out. I want to get my own job. I want to move out. What made college an option for you? Was it always an option? When did it become an option?
I mean, for me personally, college was always an option. It was like more so for me, my only option, if that makes sense, because I didn't think I would go straight into the workforce. I've never been like a physical person. I'm not really one for physical labor. So using my brain and being paid for my brain was always the plan. But I feel like college was more the platform I wanted to take because it was either college, straight into the workforce, or joining like the army, they come to your schools and they always trying to get people to like enlist. But I was like, I don't know. They pay for school. They do pay for school, but I did not want to do anything that required physical labor. So college was the way to go.
I feel you. It was almost the same thing for me. It was like, go, get a job, go to college, go to the military. And at the time, 92, I went to Morgan in Baltimore, and it was like, it's like 22 women for every one dude. Yeah, I'm going to college, y'all. Like, that's an easy choice. One thing you just said was you wanted to get paid to use your brain.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? Because a lot of kids, I've been working with kids for 23 years, and from doing this work, a lot of kids aren't very self-confident about how smart they are. And, where did that come from for you to be able to say, I want to use my brain, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And make money. When did those seeds get planted for you that you were smart? Because a lot of our kids are highly intelligent, but they just, maybe a teacher said, you're not smart or you're not good in this. And that seed got planted. So where did you know, like, yo, I'm smart. Like, I got this.
Yeah. Well, growing up, like me and my cousins, we used to like have competitions about who was the smartest. Like we would
that's dope.
It would be like who was like one of my cousins, he would always be like really good in math. And so I always was like, he's smarter than me in math, but not reading, like, So it was more so like a competitive side that came out, like who's smarter than who. And then once I was like applying myself and actually in courses that required, that tested where you were, I started getting like, more people, more teachers, more like community members coming to me being like, you're very smart. Like, you're a really good test taker. You have really great thoughts. And so all of that kind of just made me want to use my brain. And also I did tennis and I tried to run track and I tried to do basketball because I'm tall and everybody was like, you don't play sports, and I tried the sports thing and it wasn't for me. Right. So I was like, I'm not going to get no sports scholarship. Like,
right.
So I got to go ahead and, use my brain.
That's so dope. And I want people listening and watching to understand that, if you're a parent, if you're an uncle, auntie, whatever, if you work with kids, the importance of, like you said, people coming to you like, you're a great test taker. You're a great, you're great in math, or you're a great reader. Just how important that is to pour into somebody's life Because I think I was in a conference once in my 30s and I was like, oh, I'm not good in math. And the person leading the conference was like, why you say that? And I was like, I'm just not good. And they was like, nah, a teacher probably said that to you and it just stuck on you, you know? And now look, 20 years later, you're still claiming that. You're still claiming I'm not good in math. Right. So just the importance of pouring positive things into people. So senior year at KIPP, you're applying to colleges. Yeah. What is that process like? Because you know my daughter Naomi, she's a senior, so I'm going through this process. What was that process like for you, senior year, picking a college, scholarships, all that stuff?
It was pretty hectic when I initially started. Like, it was more so like it was stressful when I first started. I was just like, okay, I have to like plan out for my future. I have to figure out what schools cost what and what scholarships would apply to what, you know? But then it was a little bit easier because of my specific situation, like living in Southeast DC, you know, going to a school that provided free lunches. I was allowed to apply to schools without the admissions fee.
Okay.
And so because of that, I was able to there was less stress on me about what I was doing after high school because I didn't have to pay to apply to college, right? So I can apply to all the colleges that my GPA meets, right? Or the colleges I really want to go to, the colleges I've toured, and I don't have to pay money. That was an easy part. And so also I want to say Common App.
Okay. Now, the thing is, I'm going to ask you questions because for people watching or people listening, one of the things that I've realized, again, from doing this work for 23 years is a lot of parents don't know the process of college. So when you said admission fees, what are those?
So an admissions fee is the fee you would pay to the college to submit your application. And so if I was applying to the number one law school in the country or the number one HBCU in the country, the admissions fee is probably $200 or something like that. That's just right. a ballpark number, right? But if you live in certain houses, you receive certain government benefits like free lunch at school, they waive your admissions fees. And so for a lot of parents, they are paying out of pocket to apply to schools. But depending on your space and where you are in life, you don't have to pay those fees. You can just apply to school and you can just, have your letter of recommendations, have your grades, your GPA, and you don't have to worry about the cost of it all.
Letter of recommendations.
Yeah.
The reason why that's so funny to me is because, the kids, you were at Horton's kids with me. So, so many of the kids, they beefing with their teachers, whatever. And I'm like, you gonna need these teachers to write these letter of recommendations. How important are letter of recommendations?
Letter of recommendation is really important because it gives the school and the admissions office a different input on, or a different perspective on who you are outside of your grades and test scores, right? So when you submit your admission, when you submit your application to the admissions office, they'll ask you things what do you do in your free time? What do you do in your free time? What are things you enjoy? They ask you your GPA. They ask you a bunch of personal information about your family. But unless they give you the option to submit an essay describing yourself, those letters of recommendations will really bring you into the spotlight as far as your application goes, because these teachers are saying what a great student you are, or how well you do in work under pressure, or how you've been over the years,
Right.
And so letter of recommendation is really important. I would say don't try to get a letter of recommendation from somebody just because they're an AP teacher or an advanced class professor, because you want to get a letter of recommendation from somebody who knows you, somebody who knows who you are as a person outside of the academics, and someone who knows the work that you put in. You don't want to get a letter of recommendation from a professor that you took a class with one semester 3 years ago. You want somebody who knows you fully and can understand your situation and why you need to go to school.
All right. Real quick, again, y'all tuned in to Rap Session. I'm your man, Kill, EJ right here. Find out more about Horton's Kids, hortonskids.org, an amazing, amazing organization here in D.C., serving the community for over 35 years. So we've been around for a minute.
I've been around for a
minute.
minute.
Been around for a minute. All right, back to you. So you're putting in the applications. You don't have the fees. You're getting your letters of recommendations. What are the 3 schools you're looking at?
The 3 schools I was looking at.
Right.
Spelman, Howard, and what was the 3rd school, actually? My top 2 was Spelman and Howard.
Spelman and Howard. Why?
Howard, number 1 HBCU in the country, is in DC. I wouldn't have had to leave, and travel. And I used to like go up to Howard all the time when I was in high school just to like be in the space. Spelman, because it's like, come on, it's Spelman. Like
it's Spelman.
It's Spelman. Like, come on. Basically, number 1 all-female HBCU.
And where is Spelman at?
Atlanta. Right. Yeah. And I wanted to go to the South at first. I was like, I want to go somewhere warm. I actually got into both those schools too.
What?
I just didn't get as much money as my other school gave me.
Okay, so those were the top 2. What is the school you eventually landed at?
I go to Vassar College.
And where's that at?
Private school in upstate New York, Poughkeepsie, New York. And I actually found that school like on a whim. I knew nothing about Vassar, and it's like a really nice school. Like a lot of people know about it. But I didn't know anything about it. So the only reason I applied to Vassar was because my family is from Poughkeepsie. And so I looked up, schools with the best financial aid in Poughkeepsie. And Vassar was like number 1. And then I looked up like all of their statistics online, like, how many Black kids are there, like what they offer to first-gen students. And they had like a lot of programs. And so I applied and I eventually got in. And then I realized like what exactly I got into, like a really prestigious school. So
right. Now talk a little bit about, because one of the things that I keep hearing you say is like you were looking it up and you were doing this. Where, and again, I know you want to get paid for using your brain.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of work.
It is.
It's a lot of work. So how did you kind of juggle senior year while you're looking? And, it's not just about getting into the schools. Now you got to make sure the money is right. So how did you balance all of that?
How did I balance application senior year? I want to say I didn't actually balance it. The school and Horton's kids kind of like leveled it out for me because we had, at my school, we had college and career counselors. And so we would have like classes where we can go meet up with our like college and career counselors, and like we would go over the important things we needed. But then when I would like come to after school, I can just go to Horton's kids and, get help with any other questions I had. Because like I said, I'm first gen. And so I couldn't really ask my parents all the questions that I wanted to, because they didn't fully understand like what I was asking them, because they never,
Right. They never went through the process.
They never went through the process of applying, and yeah.
All right. So you get accepted to Vassar. Scholarship?
Yeah, full ride.
Full ride to Vassar. That's what's up. That's what's up. How did you go about that? Like, was it a situation where, like, is this separate from Vassar? Was like this a separate scholarship, or this was through Vassar?
The scholarship was, to my knowledge, through Vassar. They're a need blind school. So so when you apply to schools and you're applying for financial aid, which is like scholarship money and scholarship funding, there's 2 things you should look for: need blind and need based, when you're looking for like a scholarship.
Break that down a minute.
Right. And so need blind means if you get accepted into the school, they aren't looking at your estimated family contribution. So they aren't trying to figure out how much money your family can give. They just accept you based off who you are as a person, what your grades look like, and what you can like bring to the school.
Okay.
And so they're need blind, so they don't care how much money you can give. They just want to know if you want to go to the school, and then they work the money out with you afterwards.
Okay.
Need-based scholarship is like, they give you a scholarship based on the amount of money that you can provide. So if my family can give $5,000 every year, my need-based scholarship will be whatever it is minus that $5,000, or whatever it is minus whatever amount they expect me to pay.
Okay. Makes sense.
I believe that's correct, but yeah.
All right. So you get into Vassar. How do you feel? getting into Vassar? Because again, I heard loud and clear, Spelman
and Howard.
How do you feel? Because there is that balance of, and just to even say again, I'll tell you, there's no amount of times I can say how proud I am of you. You've always been mature.
Thank you.
And you've always, because I'm not going to hold you. At 18, if I get a full scholarship over here, but I really want to go to Howard and Spelman, I'm going to find a way, hook or crook, to go there. Yeah. How were you able to, I guess not how were you able to, but your excitement for these two schools, but then also understanding, but I get a full ride to this school.
Well, the thing was, so when you ask, like, how did I balance, like senior life and college applications, I had a plan. My plan was that I would go to undergrad and I would leave without debt. Like, that was my plan. My plan was to basically go to school for free. And go to school for free was my plan. And so when I was applying to schools, I was like, I need to go wherever the money is. Like, I can get my degree from anywhere. Like, there's so many institutions, so many educational institutions that, can provide the degree and can teach me and I can learn from them. But it was about, where could I afford to go? And it just so happened that Vassar was like a really prestigious school that decided to give me a lot of money. But yeah, I probably would have went to whichever school gave me the most money. Yeah.
All right. How do you have this level of maturity? At 18, I was...
Because I was broke.
I was broke too, but in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to I want to go to Morgan. I'm going to find a way to get there. Whereas, like you said, you had already made up in your mind, I'm coming out of undergrad debt-free.
I'm not.
I didn't even know or care about debt.
I cared.
But where does that come from that you're at 18 able to understand, I don't want student loans. I understand debt. I don't want to come out of this part of my life owing somebody. I don't think the average 18-year-old
thinks about that.
The average 30-year-old.
Right.
The average 50-year-old. I mean, we keep going. But like, seriously, where did that come from for you to have that level of maturity to understand that and to set that kind of goal?
Right. So I didn't even fully understand debt, student loans. Like, I was under the impression that, like, student loan forgiveness was like a thing that was around prior to it being a thing for real.
Right.
But my older cousin, she went to college. A few of my cousins went to college. But she actually like graduated and she was in debt. She had to take out a few loans because she wanted to go to her number one choice, which was a HBCU.
Right.
And I was like, I want to go to a HBCU. I want to be around my people. I've been around my people my whole life, But it was like, I don't want to go broke just to have this experience. I'll always have this experience. I grew up in this experience, And so even if it's not in the educational space, I'm going to be around Black people. I'm going to, enjoy my community, give back, pour into. And so for me, it was just like, I need to go where I can afford to comfortably learn and like spend my time. And also my family, like I said, I had family in Poughkeepsie, so it wasn't really hard for me to make the choice because I was like, if I feel too overwhelmed, I can just go visit, my family up there. So.
All right. You're in Vassar. 95% full ride.
Right. Yeah. Big on the 95. They tricked me, but it's okay.
We could talk about the tricknology later if you want to. But 95% paid for.
Right.
You're there. Family is there. You graduate high school. You're going. What does that do? You have to go to a summer program first. Here's a better question. Did you visit the campus?
I never.
Because people may not understand that a lot of times people don't even visit the campuses of the school that they go to. So did you visit the campus?
I never visited my school before. I did like the virtual tour, which online during COVID, they had this like virtual campus tour.
So your freshman year was during COVID?
I started college during COVID, yes.
Wow. Talk a little bit about that because I don't think a lot of people who didn't have kids in college would understand what that. I have to commend you and all the kids who had to do that because to me, one of the biggest things of going to college was getting out of my neighborhood.
Yeah.
And if I would have had to stay in Philly and do a whole first year at Morgan online,
right.
I knowing my spirit of where I was back when I was 18, I probably would have been like, nah, I'm good, you know. So how was that for you?
Well, first and foremost, I had to go in person.
What you mean?
My school did not they wanted us in person and virtual. They wanted us moved into the rooms, you know.
Oh, so you're not in DC. You're actually on the campus, but not going to classes.
When COVID started, and from, what was it, like March 2020?
COVID like sparked off in like February,
March 2020. So from like March until August, I was home, right? August, they had us move in. And it was a really weird process. We had to get tested multiple times before we came on campus. We had to provide like all of the like documents saying that we weren't sick. We moved into our rooms. We were introduced to like roommates and stuff. And then we had these things called pods, which was like, because they didn't want us to be socially awkward, I guess, they allowed us to have groups, registered groups of 4, right? So I was basically allowed to have 4 friends that I could hang out with regularly.
That you didn't pick?
No, I picked them.
Oh, you picked them.
So
okay,
you had to register with the people you knew to create a pod. It wasn't like they
just threw you in there with
so you
3
strangers. You register with your friends and you get a pod. And those are like the people that you can like be around in enclosed spaces.
Okay.
And like literally it was such a strict atmosphere. It was like no parties, no outdoor, because it was when COVID was fresh. So we didn't really know how it spread it. So like no outdoor meetings, no nothing. It was really crazy. For the first year, I was taking classes in my room, like right beside my roommate who's like simultaneously taking classes. It was just like a really crazy experience. And it was a longer school year, I feel like. We didn't really have, it felt longer to me because we didn't have the normal breaks. It was like when we had a break, we would be gone for a month. So like my first year in college, my Thanksgiving break was like almost a month long. My like Christmas break was literally like almost 2 months.
Wow, okay.
So it was like, it was like those normal in between like week-long breaks that you would get throughout the year was like all encompassed into one break.
Okay.
It was a crazy life.
Sophomore year. Are we back? Are we still dealing with COVID?
It was hybrid.
Okay.
So it was like some classes would be virtual, some classes would be in person, some would be both. But we were on campus every year from the beginning to the end. They never did not have us on campus, like moved into the rooms.
Okay. Now, you said earlier you had your 4 friends, but you have family. So were you able to leave campus?
Well,
to see your family, or then that would just mess up everything? Because
technically we weren't really allowed to leave campus. But people still left. I didn't go see my family the first year because I have like a bunch of older family members.
Okay, and you didn't want to get them sick.
I didn't want to get them sick, and they didn't want me to get them sick.
They like, don't come over here.
They said, don't come here.
Right. FaceTime is a thing.
You at school with all those kids, like stay where you at. So that's what I did.
Okay. Your roommate, how did that click for you? Because number one, Vassar is a predominantly white school.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the culture shock. Even though you didn't go right into it, like in a normal setting.
I did kind of, but not really. It was like when I initially started, I wasn't really in conversation with a lot of people because it was COVID. Nobody was really like, I was meeting people and talking to them, but it was like behind a mask. And so it was like, I really can't control my facial expressions in real life, but like behind a mask, like you really not getting anything from me. I'm just kind of nodding.
Right.
I'm just here, but I'm not really here. My freshman year roommate, amazing, love her to this day. Hi, Danny. She actually isn't white. She was, she is Venezuelan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so met her freshman year. She was amazing, actually, because it was like during COVID. I was really going through it. Like, I was just stressed. We were holed up in a room, and like, she was actually like a really important part of my freshman year, I would say. Like, she made sure I ate breakfast every day. I never eat breakfast. Okay, most important meal of the day. I did not eat breakfast, and she would go get breakfast every morning, and she would come back with like muffins and stuff because she know I'm not waking up until my class is starting. It's on the computer. You sound like me. You know, if my class is on the computer, it's virtual. It started at 10. I'm waking up at 9:50. I'm opening the computer.
Right.
She would wake up at like 8, go eat her breakfast, and then bring me back breakfast.
That's love.
Yeah,
that's love. Shout out
love
to
her
Danny.
To this day. Love you, Danny.
So that's a blessing because I could only imagine having to deal with the COVID situation with a roommate you don't like or somebody you're not getting along with. Mm-hmm. So when are you back? Sophomore year is hybrid. Junior year is everything normal now?
Technically, yeah.
Technically.
Yeah.
How do you like the campus?
Campus is beautiful. It's beautiful. I can't really like find anything wrong with like the campus just because it's a lot of green space.
Okay.
A lot of beautiful trees, but we pay for everything. So it's not like, it's not natural, but it's beautiful. Right. Yeah.
Okay, now here's the other thing about rap sessions. We always had to keep it a buck. It wasn't no cut cards or nothing like that. How did you, because I know a lot of kids who are like, yo, I want to go to HBCU because I'm not ready to be around people who don't look like me. Right. Not just white, of all, you know. Yeah. So how did you maneuver that? How did you make it happen and excel at it? Because you have to keep your scholarship. So you got to keep your grades up. You know, you're still here. You know, there's a lot of people who've went to college, dropped out, transferred, different things. How were you able to excel in an environment that you've never been in before?
Yeah. You just got to find your people. Like I went in, actually, to be fair, it's 2 Dannys in my life. Right. One is my old freshman year roommate, and one is like one of the first friends I met and made in college. I was not talking to anybody. I did not want to be friends with anybody. It was like,
you were there on business.
I'm here, you know, strictly for business. And it was COVID too, so I was like, no. But when I met my friends, a lot of the first friends I made were Black women, are Black women. And it was just like, once I found my people, once I found my group, it didn't feel as like confining. It didn't feel like I had to always, you know, not pretend, but, you know, code switch, you know?
Right.
Because even now, even today, like when I'm on campus and I'm having conversations with people, like, Kill, tell me, be for real. You know I don't sound the same. Right. I don't sound like I used to sound 4 years ago.
I don't know.
But
you think you sound different?
I know I sound different.
I don't like, normally I can pick up on things, but because trust me, I've been around the folk to know, be like, yo, bro, when you start talking like that, but I really don't hear anything that much different.
It's not that different, but I don't sound like I'm from Southeast DC. I mean, people, even when I was growing up in like middle school and high school, people always would be like, you from Southeast?
That's the thing. I don't think you ever sounded like you was from Southeast. So I think that's the other thing for me. So it's not like you came from this.
But it was like I lost a little bit of my little, you know, my twang when I got up there.
But I think that happens when you move. Like I think if you would have moved down south and went to Spelman, like a little bit of you would definitely come back with a little more Southern
Everybody
slang
say
in
I
you.
sound country up there though.
For real?
Everybody, the kids.
But you know, people, the closer you go to up north, they consider South, DC South.
They think we in the South. Every time I go up there and I'm like, because I work with kids and stuff, I do like tutoring and stuff, kind of like what y'all did. And anytime I'm talking to the kids, they like, you sound so country. What, you from Texas? I'm like, Texas? Baby, I'm from DC. They like, that's the South. You sound like you from the South.
I'm telling you, people in Philly think DC is the South starts with DC.
No, it don't.
I don't see it that way.
We in the middle.
Now that I'm here, but growing up, it was like, Baltimore was it. Anything after Baltimore is you down south. You know,
we on our own. We ain't. You know, we DC. We ain't north south.
Now talk about working with kids. Where did that come from?
I've always loved working with kids. Even when I was in high school and doing like SYP, I would do summer camps, I would do daycares, I would do anything that revolved around children just because I always had like a connection with kids. Even when I started college, I decided I wanted to do psychology at first so I can be a child psychologist. And so I can work with children specifically through like their issues and problems. But then I, didn't do psychology. So,
all right. So let's talk about that. What is your major?
I'm a history major. I'm a historian.
All right. Now tell me this, because there are all these majors in college, and there are majors that I never understood
exactly
where this road leads to.
Exactly.
So history, what do you do when you graduate with a history degree?
You can be a researcher, you can be a consultant, you can, work in the law field, because history is basically about like research and writing. So anything to do with history, you're doing a deep dive, you're doing like, research, and then you're giving your perspective on this research, or you're like figuring out why this is important. Why should we acknowledge this? Why should we push this narrative, And so I decided history because I don't even know why I decided history. I've always just been interested in like knowing things that everybody else doesn't know. Like I've been called a smart,
Right.
And people be like, "You think you're so smart? You think you know everything?" So I was like, "Well, let me just go ahead and get my history degree,
and so I can know everything. So all right. So you're an avid reader, I would assume, to be.
It's crazy.
Your major to be history.
I took 3 history courses last year.
3.
Last semester, 3 at once.
You bugging.
I'm reading like a couple hundred pages every night.
Bugging. I don't know how you do that.
I don't know how I did it either, but I passed them. So.
All right. So we're going into your senior year.
Yes, we are. We are in it.
I told the listeners, y'all going to be, I'm so proud of you. Because one of the things that I've realized in life that, we have to do for each other is talk about how proud we are.
Thank you.
Because I feel like we only do that when like big things happen.
Yeah,
you graduate, I'm proud of you. You graduate again, I'm proud of you. You get married.
Yeah.
But there's still so many amazing things that we are accomplishing just day by day. Yeah. And it's like, once you get to a certain age, you don't hear that. Like I try to make it something that I do to my friends that is just like, I'm proud of you. Because after a certain age, you don't hear that phrase too much anymore. So you're in your senior year. What else? What's next? Like, what are we looking at? Because this is just like high school. So are we looking at law school? Are we looking at grad school?
It's a little bit more stressful this time. The process of like finding my future, if that is like, if you can call it that, right? But this time around, those next steps are a little bit bigger. So like when I was in high school, it was like I'm going to school again, right? But this time, I want to go back to school. I want to go to law school. I would like to pursue, a career in law. But I've been in school for a long time,
Yeah.
I did the school thing for a minute. And I started college in COVID. So I'm definitely going to take a year, maybe 2 off, just work a job, get my money up, because all my money been going to school this past 4 years. And then I'm just going to enjoy life for 2 years before I go back to school.
I hear that. The thing that I love about you is you have a plan.
Yeah, you always got to have a plan.
Where did that come from? And the reason why I'm always asking these questions is because I want people. The thing that I loved about doing rap sessions is I swear every time I left, I learned so much. From the students telling me and helping me understand and helping me to become a better father. So the reason I'm always asking, like, where did this come from?
Right.
Because there are parents out there who are thinking, like, how do I get this into my kids to make plans and to look for the future? So where did that come from? That you're not no freestyle rapper. You're gonna sit there and write. You're gonna sit there and write your verses. You're gonna make sure your rhymes are right. You're not just coming in here just coming off the top of the head. Where did that come from?
Just growing up, like my family always instilled to me like the importance of like education and the importance of like doing good in life. They always pushed education as like the forefront of what we do. But now I have like very successful cousins who left school and started businesses and stuff. And so you need a plan thing came from the fact that like growing up, the adults in my family had plans, They were like, okay, I want to, start this business. I want to do this I want to take these classes so I can have this degree so I can pursue this, you know? And so that make a plan thing was just like prevalent in my life, I guess. It was like I never didn't know. Wait, what am I thinking? I never was around people who didn't have a plan.
Okay.
You know, I was never around people who just like sat idly and just waited for something to happen. They were always like making stuff happen, and they were making the plan to make those things happen. So I knew I needed a plan. Well, to be successful, you gotta have a plan. Gotta start somewhere.
You are so dope.
Stop.
You are. And again, you'll be hearing this from me for the rest of your life. How proud I am of you. 5 attributes.
I wrote these down. Yeah, I'm a little bit more prepared this time. Okay, so 5 attributes to get through college. The first one is a plan, right?
There you go.
So it needs to include one larger goal, right? And then, so like one large goal that this is like the main thing you want to accomplish, whether that be graduating college, starting a business, right? You have this one goal, this one big thing that you want to get through. And then a bunch of smaller goals that builds up to that goal. So when I say make a plan, it's like my plan was to go to school debt-free undergrad. So that was my larger plan. And in order to do that, I had to get great scores on ACT. So then one of my smaller ones was get a good score on the ACT, SAT. One of my other ones was get good letter of recommendations from these people, right? So you have to have a bigger overarching idea or plan floating up there, and you have to like map out how you're going to get to it. So first one, a plan. Second one, a good support system. So family is like huge, right? But even if you don't have family that you feel like you can, you know, fall back on, friends, when you go to school, make those friends, make those connections, meet those people, or stay in touch with your friends from home, because it's like when you go to school, you'll feel like, I felt such an imposter syndrome of like, am I supposed to be here? Do I really deserve this? You know? And so like, you have to know who your people are so you can have those like heavy conversations with them to be like, I don't know how I feel about this certain situation. I don't know if I can do it. And they know you, right? So they can tell you, you can do it, you know? And it's not just like somebody just saying it just to say it, right?
Right. Now, hold tight real quick. Imposter syndrome. What is that?
Imposter syndrome is like when you're in a space or you're doing something, but you don't feel like it's real, or you don't feel like you deserve it. You don't feel like you belong. You belong, yeah. Right. So for me, the imposter syndrome was like going to this school that costs like $92,000 a year and feeling like I didn't belong there because I couldn't afford the school, right? I couldn't afford to.
Well, not too many people can afford $92K a year.
A lot of people.
Right, I feel what you're saying, but that's a lot of money
like
a year.
People buying books, and like me having like, it was just like a lot of the loopholes, or like not the loopholes, but a lot of the like barriers I had to get through to even feel like I was supposed to be there, right? It was like a lot of people knew who they were. They had their support systems, you know, they had the funds to support themselves, their families. You know, I had to get my own credit card. It's a lot that goes on in college that you don't know about, a lot of expenses, everything. And so I just felt like, you know, coming from Southeast DC to like this really expensive, prestigious, like gorgeous school, it was like I just felt like I did not belong there. Right. Nobody was like me at all. Even to this day, nobody is like me there. And I feel like I used to look at that as like a burden, but now I look at it as like, when I leave, it's not going to be as fun.
There you go. It's not a burden, it's a blessing.
It's a blessing, because even today, like so many people tell me like I'm just a breath of fresh air at the school. And it's like, that's amazing. But also like, it was hard for me to even get used to the space, you know?
Right. Now let's talk about, so the support system is what helped you get through the imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. What's number 3?
I'm about to pull it up right now. Number 3 is good mental and physical health practices.
Break that down.
So basically, I'm sorry.
That's all good. You a busy person. You got to be making moves out here.
So like, basically it just means like to prioritize your health, right? Like if you're stressed about something, take that break, you know? Mm-hmm. If you feel like you haven't been outside, if you feel like you're tired and exhausted, go outside, get that sunlight, take care of yourself first. Because literally that has been like, when I let go of my mental health and physical health, and I just been in my like, I need to get work done, I need to like put pedal to the metal, and like I don't need to worry about nothing else. It was like some of the worst times for me in college, just because it was like, even after you finished what you were like trying to accomplish, you didn't feel good. You know, you didn't feel like, okay, I'm having a good day. Like wake up, do your hair, do your makeup. If that's what make you feel good in the day, like getting dressed, looking good, going outside, you eat. Please eat. Cause me, I don't eat breakfast. I barely like lunch. Dinner is like the most important meal of the day for me at school. I get a muffin and like a tea in the morning, and I'm eating fruit throughout the day. It's crazy. I never thought that would be my life, but it is.
So well, shout outs to Danny again for keeping her fed fresh.
Thank you, Danny. Yes, just take care of yourself. I know a lot of people who freshman year during COVID started to do like workout regimens and stuff, and they keep it up because it's like a part of their day, it's a part of their schedule. It helps them get in like the mode for the day. So whatever makes you most productive, whatever makes you feel the best at the end of the day is what you should be doing for yourself.
All right. What's number 4?
Keep a clean space and have a comfort space.
Okay.
So I say keep a clean space because for me, my comfort space is my room. Like I decorate my room to, be a space that I want to be in. I enjoy my personal space, and I know like when I'm in my room, can't nobody bother me, right? So I say keep a clean space because if it's going to be your room, it can get crazy. Right. And when your room and your space and the space that's normally comforting you is crazy, it will affect your mental health. It'll affect your productivity. Like if you go into your room and there's clothes everywhere and there's books everywhere and trash and candy wrappers and food, you're not going to feel like pulling out your laptop, clearing your desk and doing work. Right. You're going to be like, let me lay in this bed and go to sleep. Like that's what you're going to be feeling. So keep a clean space, always have a comfort space, always have somewhere you can go to get away, to breathe, to like reset. Because if you don't have that at school, you're just going to feel like everything is constantly running. Right. You won't be able to sleep. I had times where if my room was dirty, I wouldn't go to sleep till like 2 a.m. because my brain is like steady. Like I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to do this. But like if my space was clean, I'd probably be knocked out at the earliest convenience because I don't need to do anything.
Right.
I think that was the 5th one. Like, let me see. A plan, good support system, good mental and physical health, clean space. Oh, belief in yourself and your ability to do well. You got to believe in yourself because if you don't, nobody else is going to, And it's like, even if they do, if you don't believe in yourself, nothing that anyone else says will impact what you do, Because so you can tell me, like, you can say, I'm proud of you for all that you did, right? But if I feel like I didn't do nothing, you saying that you're proud of me is like, okay.
Right.
Thank you. You just trying to make me feel better, But if I actually believe that I've done something great, if I actually believe that I'm doing something good and that I can complete this, like if I believe I can graduate on time, I'm going to graduate on time. But if I doubt myself, then where am I going? Right. Who going to help you if you ain't helping yourself?
The dopest thing about your list of 5 attributes to get through college. It's 5 attributes to get through life.
It really is. College is really
like what you just said. I know people 50 years old who need to follow those. I
still need to follow those 5
things. Again, another testament to how dope you are at 21.
Thank you.
To be out here making plans.
Yeah.
That seriously, if you follow that for the rest of your life, I mean, I already know sky's the limit for you anyway. But the more I talk with you, the more we chop it up, especially you coming back from college. I see the growth, which is huge because you were already dope as is. So you're just getting doper and doper and doper. Where can people get at you? Are you on social media?
I'm on social media, but it's a little private, you know.
Okay, you on your private.
I like my privacy.
I understand.
But if like any HK students or like anybody, any students, you know, have questions and want to reach out and like, you know, want my perspective on something. Like if you decide you want to go to a PWI over HBCU and you want to talk to somebody. PWI, yeah.
What
predominantly white institution.
Okay.
If you decide you want to go there over a historically Black college or university, which is a HBCU, you know, reach out, put something in the comments. I'm pretty sure Kill will see it. He has my number. He can reach out to me, and we can talk about like giving out emails,
right?
Like stuff like that.
And more importantly than that, if somebody watching or listening would just like to support you, would just like to pour into you.
Thank you.
Because it's a 95% scholarship.
It is.
There's
and
still that 5% that's out there.
Out of pocket, y'all.
So for people watching, if you feel like being a blessing today, if God puts that on your heart, definitely Horton's Kids, you get it to us. We will definitely make sure it gets to EJ. So again, In Our Media Lab, sponsored by In a Perfect World, an amazing organization out there. Also, Horton's Kids, get with us. There's so many ways that you can support us. It's not always just money. It's volunteerism. It's connections, connecting the dots. So much in life, I've learned that when people talk about investment, they always think money. And what I've had to learn is that, you know, you can invest so much more in the people. We all have gifts. We all have people that we know that we can invest in different ways. So again, usually when you hear the word investment, people freeze up and they're like, you're coming for my pockets. But no, we're not. We're truly not. We're just truly trying to make a difference out here for so many lives. It's a blessing that we will be able to make a difference in your life. It's a blessing for me to even be part of your life.
Oh, thank you.
It's nothing but love. You're killing the game out here, and I can't wait to see you continue to kill it. You already know what it is. It's your man, Kill. You can follow me on Twitter, IG at Kill889. I'm on both. Horton's Kids, definitely get with us, hortonskids.org. Look at what we're doing. Come on out, support. You get to meet great, wonderful people like this.
Amazing people.
And amazing. So you get to meet amazing people like this. You get to pour into their life. Why wouldn't you want to come out and shop it up with us? All right, y'all. Rap Sessions, the debut ep is done. Appreciate you, Shorty.
Have a good one. See ya.
All right, y'all.